So, hello everybody and welcome to yet another Souvenir development stream. I have something amazing, well not amazing, I have a surprise for you today. And I'm gonna wait for some people to come trickling in. There you go, stream is now online, and Danny is here, Bagels is here, lots of S is here, and Tasting is here. Welcome everybody. I do apologize that my announcement has been a bit late. I only basically gave you 4 minutes to come trickling in, so I think I'm gonna wait a bit to give more people a chance to come in. But I suppose I can already tell you what is gonna happen. Hello, Big Crunch. Welcome to the show. Egg. I'm not sure what egg is. Okay, so we all know Souvenir. Correct. Okay. So you will notice that there is something new here, and you may wonder what the hell is up with that. Well, in order to show you what the hell is up with that, I'm actually going to run the game. Hola, Tasting, welcome. Huh, did Tasting just leave again? Oh well. Bonjour. Ah, okay, sorry Taz, it's just that Chatty sort of removed you from the list and I wasn't quite sure if that meant that you left. I guess not. Okay, so I'm going to run a game of Life Cruel and a Souvenir. Bomb. James Bomb. Alright, let's clear that. Let's open the LFA. Open the log file. Find me the solution for this game of Life Cruel. We want the answer for no strikes and even number of solved modules. This is our solution. Click, 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 click. That was wrong. Click, click. This is correct. 1, 2, 3, and these. Submit. Okay. Now, this is my surprise. Basically, the question can now include a little graphic, a sprite. So in this case, it is a grid, and it highlights one specific square, so the question can ask, what were the colors of this cell in Game of Life Cruel? Now, in this case, that was red and something. Unfortunately, this blinking colors thing doesn't work in Firefox. I'm just very quickly going to open this in Chrome. I've already told Sam about it. He's working on the fix. So red and purple is the right answer. So let's go here and is it brown? Oh, that's brown. Okay, brown and purple then, I guess. There you go. Ding. Alright. So, you may recall that the last time I was streaming, I was looking at Ghost Salt's contributions of Game of Life Cruel, Maze Seeker, and Not the Screw. And for all 3 of those, we had this problem that the question assumed a coordinate system. And so now that we have this sprites thing, we don't need that anymore. Now, there are 2 other big changes that I've made, which I'm going to show you now, and I hope that more people will be here to see it, because this is important for anyone who wants to add more Souvenir support in the future. So the first change that I've made is immediately visible here, right? It used to be just a single file Souvenir module with hundreds and hundreds of little methods. I mean, it is still a single class with the same number of 100 methods, but they're all split into separate files now. So for G, you can see we have Game of Life Cruel and a few other Gs, and only the Gs. And for X, by the way, we have 2 modules, X Morse Code and Xenocryst. I can collapse it down like this so you can easily see it. Here we have yellow arrows, yellow cipher, and Yahtzee. All of the rare letters have at least 2 modules, 00 and Zoni, and Quebec, I believe, has quaver and quintuples. There's always 2. There is only 1 letter that has only 1 supported module, and that letter is K. And I'm going to let you guys figure out what the module is that I'm referring to. In the meantime, I will tell you about the other thing that I've done. Because you see the grid, you saw the grid that I had in the Game of Life Cruel's question. Now, Game of Life has a 6x8 grid. So if I created a separate sprite for every cell, that would be 48 sprites, right? And then another 49 for the 7x7 grid in 00, and then plus another 16 for the 4x4 grids in Gridlock and several others. And as you can see, it quickly becomes a very large number of sprites. So we're not having any of that anymore. We used to have, like among this list of sprites, we used to have one that was called public sprite array tiles 4x4, and then we had 7x7. And back then my idea was to add more and more with every grid size that we need. But now we don't have that anymore, so what gives? Well, it turns out that we can now generate the grid sprites on the fly. So here's the question for Game of Life Cruel. You can see that here's a normal make question call, and of course this is the question, and then this is the module. And then we have a new parameter called question sprite, which we can give the sprite that should appear with the question. And this is a method that will dynamically generate a sprite with a grid and with one of the cells highlighted. So this is the width of the grid, this is the height, and this is the index. They're positioned within the grid that you want highlighted. All right, so at the moment, it only takes one highlighted square. But I'm already considering that I want to change it so that it can take any number of highlighted squares, because flipping squares is a module that I recently made, and it can flip multiple squares at once. And you might want to have a question that deals with, with that. So where the answer is a set of cells rather than a single cell. All right. So with all of that, let's see if anyone guessed what the K module is. Nobody has stated the full name of the module. Hey, you added 2 K mods earlier today. Okay, we were actually going to look at Danny's pull request. If we look at my file here, we see that Danny has in fact submitted a pull request since the last time I streamed. So I am going to look at that. But before I do that, I'm first going to finish off the stuff with Ghost Salt because I owe him that. All right, so let's actually get started straight away. And by the way, the answer was Kudo Sudoku. I'm sure that's what tasking meant. All right, so let's take a look. So we want to add maze seeker. So instead of trying to merge this with Git, which is going to be messy, I'm going to, first of all, I think I'm going to make a submit. Because I've, so the fact, okay, I've just noticed something else that I should also tell you, because there is yet another change that I've made. Not only have I split this up into multiple files, but I've also moved it into a separate folder. Instead of under assets where it used to be, you will see that Souvenir module.cs, the C# file, is no longer here, and neither are any of the other C# files that made up Souvenir module. Instead, there is now this folder lib. It has all of the files, and it has a solution file and a csproj file. So if you want to code Souvenir, then open this solution file in Visual Studio, and you can get going. The advantage of this is that we can now use modern C# features. C# version 8, maybe even version 9, but at the moment I've set it to version 8. In particular, that means we can use value tuples, we can use local functions, we can use expression body methods, we can use all sorts of modern things. When you compile the Souvenir lib, yeah, maybe I should show you this. In the assets folder, right? We now have under plugins. Ooh, wait a second. Oh, okay, this is a bit of a problem. This shouldn't be a directory junction. I should probably fix that. My bad. Okay, let's quickly go here. Assets. Let me just quickly make sure that I'm talking about the, managed, right? You will notice that Souvenir lib is in here. And since this is a directory junction, it is now in every module of mine, so I need to fix that. So let's remove this folder. And then go here and restore all of the files that were in that folder. And now it is not a directory junction anymore. So under managed, we can put in any DLLs here that we want to use, right? Any libraries that you want to include in any KTANE module, you can just put into plugins managed. And you will notice that we have Souvenir lib here, which is the library that is now compiled by Visual Studio, not by Unity anymore. And we have the value tuple bridge, which is required to be able to use value tuples in the framework 3.5. This one is included through NuGet. But there's also this Newtons of JSON, which is always in this folder for every module, and every module can make use of that to use JSON in some ways. And in particular, retrieving the edge work is always done through JSON, and it happens behind the scenes because you use these extension methods to obtain them. Long story short, this is where Souvenir is now. So if I make a change to this file and then compile it, and then go over to Unity, it's not showing it now, but okay, let me do this again. If I compile this again, and then move over to Unity, you will see that it says this compiling scripts thing. Right? It did not say that last time, but it does it now. Now, unfortunately, there is one disadvantage of using this library thing, which is that you no longer get line numbers with your exception messages. But for Souvenir, that is not a big deal because we never got these line numbers in exceptions in the game anyway, only in Unity, right? We only got the line numbers if we ran the module in the test harness. But Souvenir is never really going to be run in the test harness anyway, or at least not for testing the actual module support. We always have to do that in the game anyway, so this is not a big loss. All right, now with all that out of the way, I think I am going to submit this now. So what are the changes in this particular commit? So I've added Game of Life Cruel. And then I've also added, okay, so this is the Game of Life Cruel handler. But then I've also added this question sprite feature, which you'll notice there are quite a lot of references to it here. This is the actual question for Game of Life Cruel. Okay, this is just cleanup. That should have been read-only the whole time. I still need to take care of this because I still haven't fully tested these changes. I'll get to those later. What have I changed here? I've changed quite a lot of things apparently. Oh, I remember now. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think these changes are not important for you to know. This is all just plumbing in the internals of. But you can see that I've added this question sprite stuff to all of these methods, so you can always pass in a question sprite if you need one. Yeah. Okay. Restructure the example question system. I will tell you about that example question system now. Okay, so let me just quickly commit all this. So what I mean by example questions is the questions that appear when you run Souvenir in the test harness. So you will notice obviously that the question sprite doesn't appear for most questions. Oh, that looks interesting. Right, but as you know, I can do this to find a module. For example, I might want to search for Game of Life, and then it shows me this example sprite, right? So this will always show that same sprite for all of the questions that use a sprite. So what would be another? Okay, zoo not found. Okay, that is definitely. Oh wait, I'm stupid. It was Zoni was the one with Zulu. Okay, never mind. Okay. Okay, that seems to be working now. I'm not quite sure why it only shows 5 answers. Was the first decrypt? Oh, I see. That might just mean that the question for Zoni has only 5 examples. Yeah, indeed. So let's just pick a 6th one just for good measure. Radio, I guess, is one. So we just add radio here, save this. Let's exit the test harness and recompile this. By the way, what I forgot to mention is that there is another advantage to using an external library like I'm doing now, which is that you don't actually need Unity if all of the changes that you're making are only in the code. Once you have compiled the the mod into your mods folder, right, it will contain these DLLs. And let me just very quickly show you that here in the Souvenir lib properties, there is this build events thing, and I've added 2 xcopy commands here. The first one will copy the DLLs into the plugins managed folder, which I already told you about, where Unity can see it. But then the second one will copy it directly into the game folder, into the mods folder where Souvenir resides, which means that every time that you compile this, it will update not just the Unity project, but the actual compiled mod for the game. So we don't actually need to run Unity anymore to compile the lib. And hopefully that will make some things go a little faster. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, I think I'm now finally going to look at Maze Seeker. So we have this question here, Maze Seeker cell start and goal. So we're just gonna put them here. I'm sure there is already a question starting with maze. Let me find one. There you go, maze start. Yep, that's vanilla maze. Allow me to close that. This should go after Mega Man. Wait, why Mega Man? That is in the wrong place alphabetically. If anything, it should go, this is maze cubed. Maze identification. Maze seeker comes after, right, it should be before Mega Man, and this is after Mega Man, so it's just slightly out of order, which is fine. It's an easy mistake. Oop, that is not what I meant to do. Can we do this, please? Why are the commas missing? Huh. Wait, did I just delete lots of stuff? Yes, I did, apparently. Okay, I do apologize for that. Let's put this here, and now we are done. Okay, so how many walls surrounded this particular cell? So now we're just going to say this cell, and then here we're going to say uses question sprite equals true. Okay, we do not need any of those format arguments anymore because the question sprite is now basically a substitute for that. Where was the start? Okay, so for this one, we're not going to use strings. We're going to use the sprites again. But this time the sprites will be in the answers. Now, let me quickly think. In Gridlock, we have questions where the starting and ending locations are. Right. Okay, this is how I did it. So we have this type thing, right, which is already supposed to be used for things that... So here are all the different answer types. So you can see that most of them are fonts. Things like the font for Turtle Robot and Unknown Cipher. Ternary Tiles is one that was added very recently by Ghost Salt. But there are these special values here. There is dynamic font, which means that the font comes from the other module and Souvenir sort of dynamically puts it in. But then we also have sprites, which we already had before when the answers consist of sprites, but then we can also have grid, where the answers will consist of these dynamically generated sprites for a grid location. So this is the one that we're going to use. And there you go. Then we don't need this anymore. Okay. So I'm suddenly wondering, because since I say answer type grid here, the example answer generator doesn't actually know what size the grid could be. So I'm currently not quite sure how it will handle this, but we'll find out in a second. Let me copy the actual handler for Maze Seeker. So, this one here is correctly placed before Mega Man. That is good. So modules general, by the way, is the one where we now have all of these constant declarations. And then further down in the same file, we have all of this, where the this one, the reference to the... Oh wait, this is Game of Life Cruel. I meant to copy the one for Maze Seeker. There you go. Okay, so now if I go here, that doesn't exist because I need to... Okay, again, this is Game of Life. This is Maze Seeker. So I'm going to copy this and put it here. Let's collapse everything and put it here. Okay. Let's do this, remove all of these plus signs from the diff, and we should be done. Right, so this gets a lot of info from the module, most of it is in integers. And then here, bingo, this is where instead of the format arguments, where I is the position in the grid, and it's a 6x6 grid, if I'm not mistaken, given that it says 36, I'm going to assume it's a 6x6 grid. So instead of the format args, I'm now saying question sprite is grid sprite, generate grid sprite, there it is. So I'm going to give it a coordinate object, which consists of the width, the height, and the index, which is I. And then we need to give it a size. Now for the answers, the size should always be 1. So I'm actually going to change this to make it so that this is optional, and it will default to 1. So here's how to think about the size, right? The idea here is that if you specify 1, then it will have the exact size that it would need to fit into the answers, excuse me. If you want to create the grid sprite for the question, then you're going to have to sort of intuit the size based on how much space there is in the question. For the Game of Life one, I believe I used the size 1.5. Yes, apparently I did. And that seems to fit fairly well. Okay, so I do not need these format arguments anymore, so I'm just going to delete this. And then we're going to do something similar here. So this time the correct answers are going to be generated sprites. Yeah. And by the way, format arguments null doesn't need to be specified explicitly because it's already, null is already its default value, so we can just leave it out. Okay, so we want start column, start row. So we actually want generate grid sprite, new coordinate 6, 6, and then we want start column plus 6 times start row. Oh, by the way, there is another overload to this constructor which takes the x and y coordinates. So I'm just going to use that one here. That's much more convenient. Now we don't need this anymore. And now we have a single sprite, but it expects an array of sprites. So this is what we're going to do. And then we do the same with goal column and goal row. So this goes here, and we call this goal column and goal row. And apparently there is a close parenthesis missing. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to recompile this, and to show you that this just works, I'm going to, wait, hang on, I need to make sure that I'm actually subscribed to Maze Seeker. Maze Seeker, I am not actually sure if I'm subscribed to that. I am not. That means I need to restart the game. By the way, Ghost Salt, I don't know if Ghost Salt is watching. It doesn't look like it. But I was gonna say that it doesn't seem that the link to the source code is here. So it would be nice if we could have that added. In fact, let me quickly check if maybe I can find myself. What is it called? Maze Seeker. Maze Seeker is not here. It's not there. Okay, so I guess Ghost Salt still needs to upload that. It's kind of important that you do, if you can hear me, because, we don't want it to get lost. Okay, so now that I've subscribed to it, I can run the game again. And you know what? I'm just going to close down Unity right now, because we don't need that. Right, while the game is loading, maybe I should read what you guys have to say. All right, thank you for your kind comments. Yeah, we had that conversation last time, didn't we? And in the case of Game of Life Cruel, I actually agree with you. So maybe I should change this later. But it was still a good example to show you my changes for. So let's just do Maze Seeker now, so you can see and understand how to use these new generated grid sprites. Sorry to stop by so suddenly, but someone informed me that Souvenir was getting Cruel Game of Life added, which is cool, except the question kind of one of those great most people. Yeah, like I said, Kitty Ashley, I'm happy to change that. Souvenir is supposed to ask about things only mostly relevant to the solve method. Additionally, if it just asks about things you already have noted down, it's not really an interesting challenge. And Timway's point is likely going to be that if people really have an issue with it, it will come up a lot later that it's bad. We can always try it out for at least a bit. Well, yeah, we did kind of decide, because, so here's the thing, if it were entirely up to me, if it was just me and I could just, box through my opinion, I would totally agree with bagels, and I would have lots of questions that people apparently find annoying. But I don't want to have a module that people find annoying, right? So I'm listening to people's feedback, and which is why we had this poll a long time ago. In this poll, the result was that most people want Souvenir to ask only questions about things that you actually communicate to your expert. It was decided to remove questions that experts wouldn't be writing down naturally, so yes. Is the point of Souvenir not so that you keep your notes? No, that was definitely not the original point of Souvenir. Like when I first made Souvenir, this is not what I had in mind. Like, or rather, this was not in the forefront of my reasoning. It's a much smoother experience if you don't need to write down extra notes. Well, obviously, it's a smoother experience. I'm not quite sure I buy this argument. Because that, to me, this sounds like you just want the module to be trivial. You want the module to not pose any extra challenge. And then I wonder, why even have the module? But a much better argument is that most people find these kinds of okay, there are challenges and then there are challenges. Okay, there are some modules that pose challenges that people just find annoying, and then there are modules that pose challenges that people find interesting. And if having to write down stuff that isn't relevant for the module is in the first category, as in the category of things that people find annoying, then then that is a good reason to remove it in order to improve the module. The emoji in gamepad is completely relevant to the software, that's why it was removed. The positions of colored squares in Cruel Game of Life, whether they are relevant can be argued. I mean, the current established practice is for the diffuser to only ask the expert, like, would this cell be black or white, and then tell them the whole black and white bitmap. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's with that discussion out of the way, let's try Maze Seeker and see what happens. I don't actually know Maze Seeker, so we're gonna have to take a look at the log file analyzer for this. Let's actually do this here and see what it says. The maze is as follows. This feels like there is something missing here. Let's take a look at the, indeed. So this is the actual maze. So the log file analyzer needs to do something here. Okay, I want this maze to be a bit more, let's do this. Replace all of the 2 spaces with 3 spaces, and then plus signs followed by a space with plus signs followed by 2 spaces. That didn't quite work out. You know what? I don't care anymore. I think this is fine. I'll just make this a straighter line. Okay. Sometimes I wish I had a font which was intentionally sort of wide, so that every character is a square, so that I can display things like this in a way that is, not stretched vertically. Anyway, so let's see. We want to. The start coordinate is echo 1, so Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo. So this is where we start, and the goal is alpha 1. So we actually need to go only left 4. Yep, indeed. Oh, I could have just read this, and I totally didn't see that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, apparently I don't know how this module works. Let's see what the logging says now. You pressed the display on a tile that was not the goal. Oh, I see. So I need to press this first, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. How many walls surrounded this cell? Well, I can answer that from my notes now. That's this cell, isn't it? Yes, it is. And that would be 2. Ta-da! Alright, this is working very well. I like this. Okay. So that's Maze Seeker. By the way, can you guys hear the game sound? I know that I've turned off the game music. Maybe I should turn that back on just so that I know that the game is running. Whoops. Okay, please confirm if you can hear the music. Okay. I assume that that is a response to my question. Okay. Yes, game. Okay, perfect. All right. So that's Maze Seeker done. So the not the screw was the remaining controversial one. Well, not controversial, but the one that needed coordinates. So let's go here. Not the screw. That's where it should be. And we go here. Not the button. Not the screw. And then we get, oh, that's extremely short. Let's go here. Yep, collapse that. Sorry for the delay. Not the button, not the screw. Right, let's paste that. Remove all the pluses. Put the new line at the bottom. Okay, FLD solved. Oh yeah, no, this is fine. Okay, not this. I forgot to add the question, which is this one here. That goes here. Why don't I just go to not the button? Not the screw goes after not the button, so we do this, not the screw. What was the initial position in not the screw? Okay, so that one doesn't actually need a question sprite. It needs an answer sprite. So I'm just going to say type equals sprites. Okay. So let's take a look at this implementation. So not the screws, blah, blah, blah. Not the screw, correct answers. Okay, so here we need to provide grid sprite. This one, generate grid sprite. The coordinate is, so the width is 6 and the height is 4 in not the screw. And the index is clearly position. So that's our sprite. That's our only correct answer. And so let's just test that. While this is loading, I'm just making super sure that I'm actually subscribed to the screw, but I'd be very surprised if I'm not. It turns out I am. Don't need Zony anymore. I will probably need the log file. In fact, now that I think about it, not the screw is going to be, I can't solve not the screw just by looking at the log. Right? There are lots of things here that the expert needs to actually do. So I'm going to actually solve it now, so you guys can actually see how this module works. So we have the 6x4 grid here, and apparently our starting position is in column 6, row 1, which means we start here. And we need to get to column 5, row 2, which is here. And I believe the ending position will never change, because the ending position is actually calculated from the colors in the holes, and they don't change. But the current position is actually indicated by the order of A, B, C, D up here. As you may or may not know, when you have 4 buttons, there are 24 different ways of ordering them. There are 4 factorial, which is 24. And there are 24 positions in a 6x4 maze. So that's how we did that. So anyway, so in order to actually traverse an edge, I need to put the screw into a hole of the right color, which in this case would be magenta, so I should have just kept it there, and then press the right button, so this would be alpha. However, I need to visit every number, 1, 2, 3, 4, every letter, A, B, C, D, and every color at least once. So I'm going to have to write down which ones I've already got. So the colors, let me see if there's a list of the available colors. No, there isn't. Okay, so I need to know what the colors are. We have yellow, red, magenta, white, blue, and green. Okay, we have A, B, C, D, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've already visited the 1 that I came from and the 2 that I just went to. We've traversed an alpha and a magenta. So let's, if I go back, then that will give me the delta and the yellow. So let's just go yellow, delta. Okay, interesting.
Emergency clear.
What am I doing wrong? Oh, there might be an extra rule that says you can't go back. Hang on. You must travel through every color, every letter, blah, blah, blah. You must not land on the ending position without completing. Yeah, okay. Pressing a letter button is no. Okay, let's look at the log. Let's see why it's struck. Attempted to move from column 5 row 1 to column 6 row 1, which you just previously traveled. That is what I said, yeah. So let's see where in the manual it says it, because if it's missing in the manual, then that is something that needs fixing. Your current row, blah 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 blah. The ending position is indicated, blah. To traverse an edge, pressing a letter button will incur a strike. You must travel through blah blah blah. You may not travel. That is the sentence. You may not travel through the previously traveled edge. Okay, so we are currently here at this 2. So I'm gonna go Charlie Green, which is at this point literally the only place I can go. I can't go down. That will give me a strike if I go to the goal before I have all of the colors and everything, and I can't go back. So I must go here. We go Green Charlie, which means that we're now here. So we've done the green, we've done the Charlie, and we're on a 1. So if I go down, I will get the red. So let's go down, that's a red alpha. Okay, so we have the red, and we're now on a 4. Now if I go down again, we get the Bravo and the 3. So down is Bravo Magenta, so I'm gonna put the screw in Magenta and press Bravo. So I have now visited the 3, so we no longer need to worry about the numbers. I've traversed the Bravo, and I've traversed Magenta, which we already had. Okay, now if I go left, I can eat up the white, which I want. So we're gonna go Charlie White. There we go. So we're now here. Now if I go down, I could do the delta, but I can also go delta here. So I still need the blue. What's the best way to get the blue? I should have gone down from here to get the blue. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go here. This is yellow Bravo. And then I'm gonna go up, which is Magenta Bravo. And then I'm gonna go right, which is Magenta Charlie. I did not need to unscrew that. And now I can go down and go blue Bravo. Okay, so that takes care of the blue. And now I go right, which is red Alpha. And then I go up, which is red Bravo. And now I can go right, which is yellow Delta, and that will finish everything, because yellow and Delta, I will have everything. There you go. And we have a bug, so that means that we are going to have to do this again. So, not the screw, let's see. Oh, sorry, Souvenir, yeah, filtered log is what we want. Okay, so here's our Souvenir. Empty question badge provided for not the screw. There was no question generated. Please report this bug. So let's see what's going on here. I suspect that... Okay. Yeah, so, okay, my suspicion is not correct. This should definitely have worked, shouldn't it? Okay, so I suspect therefore that it never reached this point. And it never, or rather this point, but it was probably stuck in the for loop, in the while loop. So I'm going to take a quick look at the source code for not the screw. All right, let's check if the field that we're looking at, which is module solved, it does get set to true. In that case, I don't know what's going on. Let's take another closer look at this. Oh, I missed this part. The question has no answers. You must specify either the full set of possible answers, provide possible wrong answers, or add an answer generator attribute. Okay, I thought that this was not necessary when we generate grid sprites. So maybe, aha. Okay, so when I make a question here, let me take a look at this block of code. Oh, of course, I am stupid. So I have the separate overload which uses the coord type, so I don't actually need to call generate sprite myself. And this overload will not just convert this to a sprite, but it will also, right here, generate all of the other positions in the same grid. So this is what I should have used. But I suspect that the single question add question thing probably doesn't have support for this. Yep, it doesn't. See, it only has string and sprite, but not coord. So I'm going to have to add that, which is not a big deal. I'll just do this. Change this to, nope, that is correct. That should say sprite. This should say coord. This should say preferred wrong answers. And that's it, right? We only need that. So we save that, and then here we no longer need to call this. We literally just pass in the coord object. Okay, and now we're going to run this again, and we're gonna have to solve. Actually, wait, there is a way to speed this up. I'm gonna use Twitch Plays. Let's see if anyone has. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Congratulations, you found it before I did. Sometimes I wish not screw was done with any interface other than the screw. Oh, why is that? Solve count is never updated. But it is. The solve count is updated. That is not the issue. So why testing? Why not the screw? Like Okay, so I just forgot something. I just forgot that Twitch Plays will tell Souvenir not to generate questions for things that were auto-solved in Twitch Plays. So I have to comment this out temporarily. Oh, wait a second, I actually added this. Haha, yes, that's right. Cornflower is the name of my computer, which means that if I run Twitch Plays and Souvenir together on my computer and my computer only, then the autosolver will not prevent Souvenir from generating questions. So this is what I should have done. Okay, so let's run a bomb with Souvenir and not the screw. Let's go. I wonder if there's a way to turn this off. Because it seems to take quite a long time. I'm not even sure what it does. Like, why does it take that long? Okay, one solve. Okay, we have another error message. That is unfortunate. So let's exit that. Be right back, remaining my... Instead of renaming your PC to Cornflower, you can, add, another condition here if you want that. Because it's a lot of moves you need to make and it just feels like it goes incredibly slow. But surely the number of moves to make is going to be the same no matter which interface was going to be used. So it's not really because of the screw that it's slow. It should be turned off in debug mode, which is what Sam told me. Right, but I had to turn off debug mode to get rid of the text box in the bottom left. If there's a way to turn off the text box in the bottom left while still have that not be done, that would be great. Okay, so what was the issue? Let's find out. Let's go, let's close all of this. Open the log file once more. Go to filtered log and the very bottom, empty question batch for the screw. Here, the module handler for not screw attempted to generate this, but used the wrong answer type. It says type equals sprites. It should not be type equals sprites. It should be type equals grid. N, not the screw, type equals grid. Okay. Name your PC Cream Machine to unlock special testing. Yeah. The text box in the bottom left is meant to be debugging for TP, so you don't have to use Twitch for it. Yeah, I'm aware, but I prefer to use, Chatty for it. So. Come on. let's flip our bomb and solve this. Neither. What was the initial position and not the screw? I don't even remember what it... Oh, I didn't even check what it was. Why? Why is everyone doing this? Alright, so let's take a look at the... I guess this is a new log, so... Let's see what the initial position was. Starting position is column 4, row 4. So column 4, row 4 is answer 1. Okay. Alright, so not the screw is absolutely working, so that was great. I believe that's all of Ghost Salt's contribution taken care of. So thank you very much, Ghost Salt. I should probably credit Ghost Salt on this particular commit, so I'm gonna do that as well. So Maze Seeker and not the screw. Yeah. So add Maze Seeker and not the screw by Ghost Salt. And then, oops, close parenthesis, copy and paste this, commit, yes. And let's go here, I'm already here, and rebase this. I want to reword this commit and add that. Okay. So with that reworded, I can now yeah, I will just force with lease and push all that. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can now take a look at Danny 7007's contributions. I do not have a remote for him yet, so I'm just gonna add one. Was it 7007? I don't know what I said. Danny 7007, whoops, 7007. Put that here, save changes, yes. That seems to have worked. And here are our changes. Okay, what have you added? Okay, these are all things that we've already taken care of in the last stream. So I'm guessing that this one is the only change that we need. It adds a considerable number of... Wow, that's quite a lot of them. Okay, so I think it's going to be somewhat uninteresting for the stream for me to go through these live. So I'm going to go through these after the stream, and during the stream I'm going to implement new modules. So we have our wheel, and the wheel has been trimmed down a little. There's been quite a few modules that already have Souvenir support. So now I'm going to spin the wheel. And if you guys can think of any new modules that you want added to the wheel, then please let me know. We have the Great Void. The Great Void, another module that I don't know. Okay, by the way, before I forget, I should probably make sure that Game of Life Cruel. Oh yeah, I have them all listed here. Right, so those two are fine. I have tested them. Like in the last stream, I said, you know, I couldn't test this because I couldn't enter it properly. But then I thought of the Twitch Plays Autosolver method, so I did that, and that works fine. And for puzzle identification, I just needed to press enter to, you know, to start up the module, and then it would have logged the answer in the logging. So that was just me not knowing the module. So that is all working fine. So I still need to take care of this after the stream. For now, we are going to take a look at the Great Void. Actually, sorry, I'm getting distracted again, but I'm just thinking that entry number... No, that's... Oh, wait, hang on, wrong one. Souvenir. Oh, wait a second. I have this... let's go here. Oh yeah, it's here. Souvenir manual update. So I've already added 9-ball and entry, there you go, entry number 4, entry number 1. So I think these still need adding. So in order to check that, I'm just quickly going to put this up here, rebase current branch on this. There we go. And then refresh this. Okay, so we're gonna check for not the screw. Not the screw is not there yet. Is ternary tiles there? Yes, that is there. Okay, so all of these are there, and we still need to add these. Add to manual. All right, we're gonna do that later. Let me quickly check if Xeno. No, I did not add that. Puzzle I did add puzzle identification. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I will definitely take a look at the Great Void. So first thing, check if I'm subscribed to it. I am. And if this is intentional, then that's a great preview picture. All right, let's take a look at the manual. The Great Void. On the module, there is a rotating black sphere with 6 colored discs. Ah, I've seen this. I've seen this on the stream, and I've seen this in some diffusal videos. Each disc has a number from 0 to 6 on it. I'm guessing then that these numbers, yep, the colors and numbers on each face. The faces presumably being those discs. Identify the first face, which contains a symbol with an adjacent black dot. This black dot is face up for that face. Next, identify the color and number of each face in the order of the table below. On each face, there is an encrypted number from 0 to 6. Okay, so I'm going to assume that the source code probably has the numbers and colors in excuse me, in the order of this diagram. So I'm still a bit unsure, because does the diffuser and expert actually know which disk is number 1? Using the number as the row and the color as the column, find your position in the center 7x7 table, where the top left is 0, 0. Okay. You need to obtain 3 digits for each face. The first is the position you're on. The second is obtained by moving up 1. Okay. And then moving forward. Okay. Sum both digits you crossed, subtracting 3 if greater than 2. Okay, that's quite a lot of calculations. Okay. Now that you've obtained all the digits for all 6 faces, we now reorder them. I see. Join all faces in order. So that assumes that you know the order of the faces, right? Okay, and then it does the same whole release thing that Xenochrist does, presumably. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to run the Great Void under Twitch Plays. Did I unsubscribe from this? No, I'm still subscribed. So I'm gonna run this and I'm gonna see if it has an autosolver. And I'm also going to look at the log file analyzer for it. And it's doing this again. Great Void. Okay. Let's flip the bomb. Nope, not like that. There we go. And let's see if we can solve this. Okay, does that already have Souvenir support? Why? Oh my gosh, great. Yeah, it's even listed twice on the wheel. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I guess I just need to add that to the manual. Oh my gosh. Let me take a look at this. Great void. Here we go. Colors and digits. So we don't even need to do this. Why is this not up to date? This is so strange. I'm a bit annoyed because this means that oh, it's in the manual. Okay, I don't even need to put it in the manual because that was already there. Hi. Okay, so that takes great void out of the wheel. So I guess I'm gonna put the rest on the wheel and spin that again. Our next module is Devilish Eggs, and this time I'm gonna check if Devilish Eggs, no, it's not there. Okay. So, once again, this is a module that I don't know, and I hear that it's quite hard, so I guess I'm going to use the autosolver again. So let me make sure that I'm subscribed to it. I am not, so let's subscribe to it, and then let's run KTANE again. Numbers also already has support. Why does nobody tell me this? Thank you very much, Danny. Thank you. Numbers. Let me just quickly check. MN numbers. What 2-digit number was given? Okay. So I guess that's not a candidate anymore. While this is still doing that, I guess I can update this. There we go. Okay. Save that, go back to this, and we're looking at Devilish Eggs. Okay, Souvenir obviously is okay. First of all, let me check what the log says before we solve it. Okay, that's quite a lot. The top X rotations. I remember this being read out. So this is 360 degrees counterclockwise. And T and W means whether or not it is spinning the whole egg, or whether the egg itself is spinning, or, yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? I don't know what T and W stand for, but I know what's meant. The dots on the top egg are green, and okay, so there's only one color per egg. The number on the buttons have the label, okay, so these are in a specific order. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna solve it now. Oh, turn and twist. I see. That's what it's called. This is quite fun to watch. Okay. Okay, so when it's solved, apparently the buttons and the numbers on the buttons are still visible. The colors of the dots on the eggs are not visible, so those are definitely candidate questions. Let's see what this says. So you could ask about the rotations of both eggs. Well, it could also ask about the colors. So let's write down all the things that we could ask about. Let's use this tab. The top X rotations, the bottom X rotations, the dots on these, the number buttons, those were still visible. Let me open this so we can see that. The thermometer labels from bottom to top, those are also still visible. The string of numbers on the module. It says egg, so that can still be asked. The string of letters without angle brackets, similarly. After modifications, the new string, right, so this is what the expert deduces. So we're gonna delete that. So these are all viable questions for Devilish Eggs. Cool. Let's add them to the question thing. Now, before I start, I'm going to take a quick drink because I've been talking a lot and my mouth is quite dry. Okay. So we would end up somewhere here after decolored squares, presumably. Okay. So we would be here. Okay, I'm almost done. So we want to ask a Souvenir question about Devilish Eggs. Okay, let me drink. So, what were the top or bottom eggs rotations in? except we want to ask for the like 5th, 6th, whatever. What was the top or bottom eggs, first, second, etc. rotation? There you go. Okay, and so we have either twist and then 360. What options are there? Is it 90 clockwise and then 180, 270, and 360? Is that all the options there are? Since Taz is here, hopefully hopefully you can confirm. You only need the dot colors for one rule that only applies sometimes, so I guess we shouldn't be asking about the dot colors. Okay, thank you for the input. In that case, yeah, I know there are counterclockwise. So okay, so we should not be asking the these. Okay, but do we definitely need the numbers and the letters? Please advise. So these could all be counterclockwise, and then all of these instead of twist could be, what was the other one? Turn. There we go. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this is quite a long string. I kind of hate that the word counterclockwise is such a long word. No wonder that everyone abbreviates it as CW and CCW. So, how do I deal with that? I mean, I could make it the one column thing. I think I'm gonna make it the one column four answers thing because the answers are sometimes this long. Oops. The module has an official notation for the rotation. You can use that. Ah, okay. Devilish Eggs. Ah, yeah. T and W. So, okay. All right. In that case, we will definitely use that. Thank you, Taz. Okay. So twist becomes W, turn becomes T, clockwise becomes CW, and counter is another C, and then the spaces just go away. And then this is all of the possible strings. So we're gonna do this like that, put that there, and now we have a string of possible answers. Okay, I think we want answer layout here. So now we can do this. Put a comma here, because we need format arguments. So, example extra format arguments we have. So what was the top egg's first rotation? Right, this is one thing that can happen. We could also have second rotation. And we could have the same thing, but with top, oh crap, replaced with bottom, I was gonna say. What the heck? Did you see that? I clicked on selection and it changes it back. Okay, this is extremely buggy. Yeah, okay, that definitely needs fixing. I've already reported that to Microsoft. I don't know if they're going to fix that before the preview is over. Okay, group size equals 2. And then we have Devilish Eggs rotations. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing we had was the numbers and the letters. Okay, so what were the numbers in or on? It says on the module. Should I do on? Okay, so these numbers presumably, so let's look at this example here. The numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it always 8 digits? Answer generator dot integers. Well, actually, I'm tempted to make it strings and say the first character is 0, the last character is 9, and the number of characters is yes and always 8 letters too. How many did I say it was? It was 8. 8 digits and 8 letters, gotcha. Okay, so what were the letters on Devilish Eggs? Since I'm specifically saying letters, I don't need to say without angle brackets, because angle brackets aren't letters, am I right? I can just say letters, and then A to Z. We don't even need any of these anymore. And there we go. Okay, now that I'm hydrated, I realize that I do want some example answers here. Okay, so I'm gonna generate some 8-letter and 8-digit strings. Come on. Get rid of that. Clipboard. Dot set text. Enumerable range. 0 to whatever 10, I guess. Select I. rnd.generate string. So the length is always 8, and the characters. Okay, let's do the letters first, I guess. Okay. So we actually want this in C# notation, so that I can join string with commas, and then I can just copy and paste this. Okay, so this is for the letters. Okay, so now I can just paste that here. So now we have some example. Are the letters always unique, Taz? Or can a letter be repeated? Actually, I can probably just check that here. We do not have repeated letters here, so I don't know if they can repeat, but the digits apparently can. So while I wait for your answer to that, I'm just going to do the digits. So I'm just going to do this. And now we have a string of digits. There we go. They're not necessarily unique. Okay, perfectly. Perfect. The module has an official name. Yep, okay. Hey Timmy, how are you? Hey Gwendo, how are you? Isn't there also another string of letters? Another string of letters. I'm misremembering. This is after modification, so this is probably something that the expert needs to calculate. It seems to me that the only string of letters on the module itself is this. At least according to the log. If you recall this, there were basically two things here, one on the top part and one on the bottom, and I assume that one of them is the letters and one of them is the numbers. If I'm wrong about that, then please correct me. The other string is only logged after you finish the first set of inputs. So you're saying that this is not something that the expert calculates. This is actually shown on the module. Something has to be on the third side. One side of the triangular prism will display nonsensical symbols. The other two will display a string of numbers and a string of letters. No, they do calculate that, but there is yet another string that gets revealed after pressing the numbers. And that is not in the log, because I don't see it. At least not in this log. That is only logged after. Yeah, but I should have reloaded the log file. Okay. So here are the cooking buttons. And then we have, okay, where is it? I'm probably skipping past it, aren't I? Okay, let's see. This is how much of the logging we already had up to here. And then this is where we start pressing numbers. And then these appear. Then we have all of this stuff. Yeah, I still can't find that in the log. Okay. Right, in that case, can you quickly add it to the logging so that I can test it with the, with the new logging when I'm done with this? Okay, so while okay, now that I'm hydrated, I'm gonna try this. Let's go here. And there you go. Private IEnumerable object process devilish eggs. KM-bomb module. Okay, so as before, we copy this from any other handler. And we need the name of the class here. So I'm going to open the source file. Assets, there's going to be a .cs here. And apparently it's devilish eggs with a lowercase d. This needs to be case sensitive. Let's see if there is a solved thing. There is, so I'm gonna do that. Is it public? No, of course not, as it very well shouldn't be. And then we can just repeatedly get this and wait for 0.1 of a second. There you go. It's sometimes interesting to see what suggestions it makes here based on the other things in the source file. But that's not what we want. We want, let's see. So we want the set of rotations. Let's see if rotate, there we go. No, that's a coroutine. There we go. DE rotate, devilish egg rotation. So we need to take a look at that type in a second. First, let's get this. So var top rotations equals get field, and we're gonna use the abstract array type. Yeah, so we get it from comp. It is called top rotations. It is private. So we get the array like this, and we expect the length to be exactly 6. So expected length, whoop, can I not? Oh, I see. I need to use the validator. If the array.length is not equal to 6, then expected length 6. Length 6. Oops, else null. There you go. Okay, that's the top rotations. Then we have the bottom rotations, which are called this, unsurprisingly. Okay. Top rotation, bottom rotations. Okay. So this DE rotation type, I'm gonna have to take a look at. Let's see if it's declared in here. No, it is not. Oh, I see. It's an enum type. Oh, that makes it easier. Okay, so it's actually an enum type. Yep. Okay. So let's find that type. Ooh, it's not here. Is there any other .cs file? Enums. Ah, okay. Perfect. Yes. Yes. This is good. This is good. Good. Yes, okay, so DE rotation is the one that we want, and it's gonna be one of these. This is gonna be easy, right? So we're gonna have this part is going to be easy. So we're gonna have our questions here. For int I equals 0 to 6, I'm going to call this rotation index. Questions add, make question. It thinks I'm doing decolored squares. Devilish eggs rotations. Module key is devilish eggs. Aha, which I haven't declared yet. I should probably do that. Okay, let's go here. Discolored squares. Here. Constring devilish eggs. This is so hard to type. Okay, so what we need here is we need the module type in the prefab. So I'm just gonna look at the prefab. It has a module type. There you go. It is the same as the class name. So then we go, all right, let's find decolored squares down here. Devilish eggs, process devilish eggs. And then we go back here. Okay, so now we can use this constant. We don't use a question sprite, so I'm gonna skip that. We do have format arguments, so I'm gonna use that. Okay, and we have two of them. The first one is which egg we're talking about, so top or bottom. So I'm gonna say top. And then the other one is the ordinal of the rotation. So it's ordinal of rotation index plus 1, because our for loop is 0 index. But okay, so the correct answer is, of course, top rotations of that rotation index dot toString. Right, I see, because this is the abstract array type, we need to use dot get value, and then, whoops, we do get string, and then that's it. Okay, now I don't need the enum value, I only need the string version. So after this dot get, I think I'm going to do this, select each rotation dot toString, and then make that an array. And the reason I do this is because now I can actually specify the all rotations. Yeah, okay, let's do. You know what? Since I'm converting it anyway, I think I'm going to do an all rotations equals top rotations concatenate bottom rotations dot toArray. Okay, so now all the rotations that were actually on the module are preferred wrong answers. Okay, bottom rotations, and that's it. Okay, I just got a ping, but I don't really care about pings right now because I'm streaming, so I'm gonna go do not disturb. Ongoing Souvenir discussion, interesting, where is that? Oh.
Yeah, we're having a discussion about things that might not be good Souvenir questions. I linked to the start of it.
That question seems to never die. Well, do you think it might be a good idea for me to read this right now?
Live
on the stream.
Maybe?
The following Souvenir question is valid, fun, and an interesting challenge. What was a potential letter, but not the chosen letter in the fourth column of vanilla password? It would definitely have been a valid question back when I first made Souvenir. I would not have seen an issue with it. But people now see issues with it. The idea that it doesn't have to ask about things you've already taken notes on is, to put nicely, that is absolutely not nicely, Ash. That's you can find a better way to phrase this. You don't want to take notes on the fourth column file, and neither do I. Getting asked 63 Centurion questions or whatever is a lot. But can you imagine if we started asking about things that we weren't taking notes on? There's context that people are missing. Lol, I'm so sorry. I could have been using 1, 2, 4. Okay, now they're discussing the strategy for password. It's forcing you to take notes on something you weren't taking on. Sorry, I wasn't on the same side. Yeah. Souvenir is supposed to ask about things only mostly relevant to the software. This is just not true. If it was iPhone's question, would not be what was the pin, but instead how many birds, pigs were there. Again, when Souvenir was new, I would have considered that a perfectly valid question. Souvenir has and always has, as far as I can tell, nope. Ask about things that most, if not all, people have to use to sort them. Yeah, no, that is a relatively new idea. Personally, I disagree with that question. If Souvenir is asking you exactly the same thing as the other module, what is the point of Souvenir existing? You could read the fake cardinal, you could read the locations of the colors. The colors themselves are important, yes. Actually, no. That question in particular adds nothing to the game and therefore is not a good question. It should be changed. Sorry, which question? Are you referring to Game of Life Cruel here?
iPhone.
iPhone. Okay, well. Anyway, it seems that this conversation is going on for a long time and there's a lot of stuff written about it. And also this conversation, like I said, we've been having this conversation a million times and we've had a poll about this. Yeah. And we've discussed the results of the poll in a live, no, not in a live stream, in a voice chat. which means there's no record of it, unfortunately.
So, what seems to have been the consensus is that people don't like questions about things that can be potentially soloed.
Yeah. Which is weird, because nobody complains about the only connect hieroglyphs, but I solo that. Generally, Souvenir slows the bomb down. Well, every module slows the bomb down. With every module on the bomb, you have one more module to do. Right, questions that require you to go out of your way to get an answer are the same way. Keep in mind that Souvenir already takes a bunch of time regardless of when the questions themselves are answered, as you have to go back to your notes whenever a question is asked. This is assuming, because, okay, so here's another thing, right? Everyone assumes that the questions on Souvenir, you have to take notes. But a sufficiently, a diffuser with a sufficiently good memory could, in theory, remember what was on the modules. In theory. I know that sounds crazy. Like there's, not many people have that amount of memory. But back when Souvenir was new and we had 11 module bombs in general, that was the sort of general size of a bomb. It was much more reasonable to think that people can just pay attention to the detail that they know Souvenir might ask and then remember it instead of having to write it all down. But anyway, I understand that now you have to write it down because now we have between 47 and 101 modules on the bomb, and it's much more unreasonable to remember all of it. The main reason why I dislike questions for info you wouldn't otherwise need is that it can take longer to solve them. Yeah, okay, come on. Any module can take longer just by being a module, because you need to go out of your way for that bit of info Souvenir needs, which is even more frustrating if Souvenir can ask multiple questions for that module and doesn't even ask that question you spend precious time worrying about. By avoiding these questions, you don't need to worry about running into these scenarios, and it makes remembering what info Souvenir asks you to keep much easier. And given that Souvenir has worked just fine without the need of these questions, well, it has also worked fine with those questions back in the old days. Then I don't see a reason to include them. While I can see why you think it makes Souvenir more interesting, you can't say that Souvenir needs those type of questions to be interesting. Well, I find it very strange. Like everyone, like this is the very general, the very common way to argue this point, and I don't get it. Like people are overtly saying Souvenir mustn't be hard or mustn't take time, and surely that's totally against the idea of a KTANE module fundamentally. Right, the only reason I bow to the pressure is because people have convinced me that it is frustrating and annoying, and that I don't want my module to be annoying, obviously. But if all you want is just for Souvenir to take less time to solve, then you're just looking at the wrong module. You can just solve other modules. On things like the iPhone and color ciphers, asking for the literal answer is not a good Souvenir. Yeah. I agree. That is definitely not a good Souvenir question. And in the case of iPhone, I think the only reason we have that question on iPhone is because I couldn't, there's no other question that I could ask without either running into technical difficulties or running into these arguments again. iPhone solving process has evolved to become almost entirely interactive. That is correct. It used to be different. Who wasn't lying? You mean the messages?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were the traits of the first person in Tinder? Okay. The thing is, you wouldn't normally take notes of those. You do communicate the traits of all of the people in Tinder to the expert. So just because you wouldn't normally take notes of these is not a good reason to not have that. But I think the issue that I have with Tinder is that what if you get a strike on the first one? Then Souvenir has to make sure that it asks about the second one, and that just gets confusing. I would never note which stages, which rules applied on screens in any universe. Nor would I ever write the weathers, or the labels on broken buttons, or the button presses in bulb. Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, Bagel's questions are being good. I guess I just don't really understand the point of Souvenir. Okay. Lots of people have different ideas of what the point of Souvenir is. The only thing you don't need to know is the exact number of birds or pigs. Who wasn't lying is a perfectly fine question because of something. Yeah. Okay, so who wasn't lying is the same as saying whose message gave you the pin number. Yeah. Yeah. My problem with Game of Life Cruel is that I do not need to. Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, I agree to. I have agreed to change this. Okay. So I don't know if I should be delaying the stream much further with all this discussion. So Bagels, if you don't mind, do you think you can like continue to watch this conversation and then give me the long and short of it at the end?
So it's pretty much over.
Okay.
My takeaway is that we should probably get rid of things that can't be reasonably soloed.
Get rid of
but
things
I'm a
that
biased party.
get rid of things that can or can't.
Can.
Can, yeah. Does that include like what would that include?
That would include iPhone, the 00, or not iPhone, but 00. There was something else.
Well, in Double O's defense, it's only one question that you need to write down. It's only a single short piece of info. And it doesn't, having to write it down doesn't even slow you down in solving Double O. Right? You can do that while you tell your expert the stuff to write down.
Yeah.
And
Epic Toast has a point that there's nothing wrong with overcompensating and excluding questions that not everybody can agree on.
So basically nerfs Souvenir to the max.
Kind of. Right, it was things like puzzle modules, creations, weathers, and 00.
Maybe we should have another poll about creation and about some questions which are already in there. So you mentioned 00, you mentioned creation weather, 00 creation weather.
Well, as iPhone every colored cipher.
Every colored cipher.
Yeah, color ciphers ask you literally what was the answer.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, the colored ciphers obviously have information on them, so we could totally change the questions to ask about what was on the displays.
Yes. Minesweeper. Thank you, lots of S.
Minesweeper. I don't know if I want to remove that. Same for 00. Like.
Cosmic, probably. Just looking.
Okay, let's think about it this way, right? Like, remember how I keep saying that people seem to overtly just want Souvenir to be trivial. Think about like your box standard module. Like, I don't know. Let's say only connect, right? How much stuff do you need to read out? Well, in the first stage, 6 hieroglyphs and a team name, and then in the next stage, 9 letters with diacritics. Right? So just picture in your. By the way, I'm not just talking to you now. I'm talking to everyone who is watching this stream. Sort of walk with me here. Picture in your head like the amount of stuff that you need to write down for one module, like only connect. The amount of time that it takes and the amount of information that the expert needs to write down. And now think about the amount of stuff that you have to communicate and the expert has to write down for 00. It should be clear right off the bat that what you give the expert for 00 is basically just like one hieroglyph in only connect, right? Which means that even if you have 6 00s, you are still reading out less information for that Souvenir than you are for only connect.
Yep.
So, okay, there's been some discussion in this channel as well. Oh my gosh, so much talk. I think this is where I picked up here. Won't that return just an integer, or would it find a way to communicate the name of the enum value? No, if you go .toString on it, it will return a stringified version of the name of the enum value. I dread having to write down every letter in every password column. Yeah, no, that one I agree with. That would definitely be annoying. Imagine Simpleton slowing down your bomb. You say in theory, but Def literally solos almost all of Souvenir lol. Yeah, okay, so there are some people who have that exceptional amount of memory, which is a legitimate strategy. The discussion has pretty much turned into memeing now. Hello. Hi there, Kilobytes. For Minesweeper, it asks about the color press when really it is the first color used as reference that is relayed to the expert when it's not being soloed. No. Oh, I see. I was about to say no, you can determine that from the serial number, but of course not, because it depends on the order in which the colors were on the module. So yeah, that would actually be a totally reasonable question as well. I agree with the Minesweeper change and changing iPhone, not removing them, but changing the question. Okay. Minesweeper would be changing, not removing. Double O, I have no problems with. Yeah, me neither. Double O, in my opinion, I wouldn't miss it if it were removed, but I also don't mind it. Okay, that seems to be a consensus. Minesweeper being the pressed square just doesn't really make sense. Yeah, you could argue. My main issue with Double O's question is when I quickly solo it in between modules, I now have to take an expert off their work just to tell them to write down even if it's only one thing. Yeah, that is true, but if that is a huge issue to your expert, then arguably they're not a good expert. Like, being able to write down stuff at the drop of a hat is one of the skills for a good expert, right? And besides, even if it does take them extra time to just write down that stuff and, if it distracts them from their work, then, like I said, Souvenir is a separate module. And that, like, if you say that you don't want Souvenir to require any work, then Souvenir might as well not exist. Oh gosh, why all these discussions? We are here to do development and not, I'm not even going to write this down. Let's continue this. I'm getting a headache from all this discussion. Okay, so we've added the rotations. So the next thing that we want to do is the string of numbers on the module. So we need to figure out where in the source code that is being saved. Let's see, we have quite a lot of things here. Prism's digit bingo and Prism letters. That must be it. All right, Prism, let's go. We have our digits, which is get field comp that, and yes, I forgot the type. That is actually a integer array, which means that we can make this an array field of integers, and that is not public. We want to get that. We expect the length to be 8, and then the same for the Prism letters. And that is a character array. Okay, so I expect the character array, validator. I expect that to have characters between capital A and capital Z. Wait, why is it complaining? Function, toString. Oh, that's right. Okay, if that is right, so if that is the case or that is the case, then expected letters A to Z, else null. There you go. This is what I wanted. Regarding reading out a quick the gamepad in between modules is the same as quickly telling them. Yeah, exactly. Tim, we might add not module. I've already added not the screw now. So kilobytes, if you want them to be on the wheel, then please tell me and I'll put them on the wheel. I've been meaning to comment on this, by the way. I find this extremely strange that I'm not getting any suggestions from anyone to put modules on the wheel. Like, the modules that are on the wheel right now were suggested by one person a long time ago, don't even remember who it was. And now, you know, like, notice what happened here. Lots of S said they're not on the wheel. No, sorry, Danny said they're not on the wheel. And then the first thing you say, oh, they're not, sorry then. Like, as if the wheel was set in stone. You can give me modules to put on the wheel. And yeah, and I find it strange that nobody does that. I'm not complaining, right? I'm just making this observation. I find it very strange that nobody is, that it doesn't occur to people to just say, why don't you put this on the wheel? I haven't played mods in a while, so I'd have to play some before finding mods to say, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Obviously, like I said, you know, I'm not making any demands. I just find it very bizarre. Speakers not modders could have some pretty good questions. Let me run through the ones that will work. Thank you, Danny. In the meantime, let's continue with this. Okay, so the digits, I have just decided that I'm actually going to change the question. Because instead of just asking, okay, what was the entire string of digits, which is actually much easier to do by memory, I'm going to ask what was the nth digit and the nth letter. And I think that would be a more interesting question. So what was the nth digit in the string of numbers? Let's do that. And what was the nth letter in the string of letters, I guess. Okay, and then this here doesn't need example answers anymore. We can literally just say A, B, C, that, comma, boink. And there's our alphabet. Oh, that was for the letters, so let's put that here actually. And then for this one here, we want the digits, so we just go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then each of these, we do that. Replace, oh, okay, that was gonna, okay, let's do that. There we go, whoop, let's do that. Okay, then we don't need that, and now we have a better, oh, but we do need the example extra format arguments now. What was the first, second, third, etc. up to 8th? Oh yeah, and group size equals 1. And then let's copy that, put that in here. Yep, same thing there. Okay, so back to this one here. So this is the 6 rotations, and then after this we're going to have 8 items. We're going to add a question for the numbers, which is, sorry, Devilish Eggs, digits, I think, no, numbers, yeah, I called it numbers, okay. Devilish Eggs, format arguments. So the only format argument here is the ordinal of index plus 1, so it'll say like first, second, third. And then the correct answer, of course, is literally just digits of that index dot to string. And that is our question. And then we do the same for the letters. Devilish Eggs, come on, letters, thank you. And then here we're just gonna say letters at that index. And then we add these questions, questions, module, Qs, questions. Now we recompile and then to see if it works. Okay, I guess I don't need that screenshot anymore because we're gonna get a new screenshot. Okay. Do you want me to add these to the wheel? For not Morphematics, I think one of the questions should be about the letters transmitted or the colors and shapes. Yeah, obviously. Okay, so all of these. There we go. Put these on the wheel. Okay, Let's do this, close this. Right, and now we're just gonna run a Devilish Eggs. Can I... Hello, Cool Doom. I can see this set of characters there. Here are some digits, and then presumably the next one after that. Oh, now it says egg, so I can't see it. Okay, there is a bug. Let's take a look at the log for this. Souvenir, souvenir, souvenir. Null reference exception. Okay, we've seen this before. This is not in Souvenir. Abandoning Devilish Eggs because you forgot to include. Solved, ink safe, Devilish Eggs. Recompile that, and then run KTANE one more time. I may have forgotten how to code in C# now. Okay, let's run. It would be really good if I could turn that off. Ah, it was not connected. There we go. What was the third digit? Right, let's take a look at the log for this one now. The third digit was apparently a 9. So that did not work. So let's take a look at the filtered log. What was the third digit? It thinks it was a 5. Okay, let me see what happened here. So it thinks we had 8, 6, 5, 0, 2, 4, 9, 2, and the letters it thinks we had T, G, E, S, H, A, G, P. Okay, let's take a look at the log for this and see if that is not in here at all, and that is in here, but that's after modifications. So the string of numbers on the module is not actually okay. So we were looking at the wrong field. Let's just close that. So we don't need that anymore. Right. So the one that I looked at was these prism digits, prism letters. Let's see where this is assigned. Okay, so this is during start, and then, yeah, and then it does all the calculations. So it logs this once and then immediately changes it, which means that we can't get it. So we can't get it from this variable. So I guess we're gonna have to get it from this text object, because this says to add them to the thing. And then at the end of this, presumably, let me actually check whether this gets modified again. Okay, that is number 2. So 0 and 1 will contain the digits and letters. So we have to change this. FLD text. What is it called? A prism text. I'm gonna call it that. Equals get field text mesh array. Let me just quickly find that here. Yep, that is of course public. Why wouldn't it be? And it is definitely called this. There we go. And I guess I actually want to get this here, so I'm just gonna do this. I expect that to be an array of length 3, right? And then digits, which we don't use that. So the digits are going to be prism texts of 0 split. Oh, I see, dot text, and then split this at spaces. Because here it is doing a join on spaces, and this, if I'm not mistaken, is an array of integers, and this is an array of characters. So this should work. So var letters equals this. Okay, so now if digits.length is not equal to 8, throw abandon module exception. I don't actually need this to have format and format args anymore because I can now use interpolated strings. Maybe I should go through all of the calls to this and fix it at some point, but not on the live stream because that's boring for you guys. Expected 8 digits got, and then here's the array. So I got digits.length. And I'm going to say digits.joinString with semicolons. There you go. And then if letters.length is not equals 8, expected 8 letters. Right, and then here we put letters.length, letters.joinString. There you go. Okay. Now, interestingly, even though these are this originally came from an integer array, after the split here it will be a string array, which means that this doesn't need .toString, and it will still just work. Okay. Maybe I should also make sure that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to do this. If that is the case, or there are any strings in here that are not length 1 or not digits, like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for this one here. Letters, length 1, alpha through Zulu. Let's do that. Okay. It is the same field, I just yep, exactly, you modified the field. That's fine. I'm grabbing the text mesh. Misery squares. What question would you ask on misery squares? Let me know if I miss any other. Oh, I should fix the internal names for the sprites using Kim's game so it can be added to Souvenir without it looking like a mess. Please feel free to do that. You should also probably change it to 3 columns instead of 6. 3 columns of 6. Oh, 6 answers in 3 columns. Oh, yes. You are absolutely right. I will definitely do that. In fact, I will do that now so that I don't forget. Okay, but I will recompile afterwards. Ask for color and number of each phase. Whoops, I meant to do this. What was the top egg's second rotation? Okay, let's take a quick look at the log file for that. Top egg's rotation, it asked for the second rotation, so that's T180 counterclockwise, so 3. Answer 3 is correct. Very good. Let's take a look at the other answers that the other questions that were generated. Okay. I should have taken notes of the... Okay, well, you know what? I can just copy this into a notepad. Yeah, we don't need this anymore, so I'll just do this. Yeah, I'll just cut this off, and then we just compare that with this. Okay, so the top rotations were that, and then this is the first bottom rotation. Then we have this one and this one. Yep, these are all correct. Okay, so I'm happy with that. The digits are here, 499787730, 499787730, and the letters, of course, KPJ, KPJ bingo. That seems to work now. Bravo Yankee. Okay. I'm going to make a few tiny changes here, which is that the preferred wrong answers for this could be the other digits, and for this one here, the other letters. Okay. Yeah, I think we're done with Devilish Eggs. So let's go here and put Devilish Eggs. Where is it? It's not even in the list. Huh. Did I remove it from this without putting it here? Maybe I did. Okay. So with that said, we can now make the wheel a little bigger by adding all the not modules and spin the wheel. And we have mirror, and I forgot to remove Devilish Eggs. Wait, hang on, I thought I had match case on, that's why. Okay, fine. Okay, so we have mirror, yet another module that I have never seen before. Actually, I have seen that. Okay, ooh. I remember making this SVG. Who made this module? Taz, you sent me this, didn't you? You sent me the object file, and I turned it into an SVG. I remember this now. Okay, let me try out the module. So let me unsubscribe from Twitch for a sec. And then close this, run KTANE. And then while that is loading, I can open this. What is this? Oh, this is not Taz thing. What is it called? Mirror. Assets. There is no .cs here. Oh yes, there is. There you go. Module type is mirror. I'm quickly gonna check whether this is reasonable. That seems to be reasonable. Okay. Okay, mirror. Let's go here. Utopia in red. Okay. The same handwriting that is uncork. Find the new word written by the original ghost in one of the tables below. So that would be uncork. So this one. If the word is in this table, press the word above the one written wrapping around. Okay, so that would be, ooh, I like that. That is really cool. Okay, so I believe that Urino is the correct answer. Very good. Okay, so now that I know how the module works, that's a really cool and simple module. So let's see what questions we could ask about this. Souvenir can ask about the second word the original ghost wrote. So basically the one that you had to find in the table. Yeah, okay, we could do that. Let's take a quick look at this. Let's take a look at start. So font category, chosen fonts, boring fonts, fancy fonts, handwriting fonts, standard fonts, tech fonts. I see. These are all sort of sets of fonts that are similar. Gotcha. Font init, font position, word table. For each text mesh, start coroutine, disable things. Unity doesn't like it if I don't let the other words exist. Yeah, that is correct. I am aware of that issue myself. Okay, so this is where it decides on the font. Okay. But where does it decide on the word? This is the word table, but not the word within the table. So, begin module. I'm gonna assume that, wait, that is, no, this is not where it starts. And yet, oh, okay, it assigns a color, but not the actual text. I'm assuming that the text, oh, there we go, starting word. Pick random. There we go, word initially written. So starting word is a local variable, which means that we can't actually get it. But then again, the starting word is not what we wanted anyway, is it? So let's look at this. Wait a second. Oh yeah, no. So this is where, okay. Order to show chosen table. Write the word. Words shown. The original ghost wrote the ordinals of font position. Okay, so font position. Bingo, that is a field, so we can get that. So here we set the font and the material, but not the text. So let me see where else this is used. Oh, I see. It's the coroutine here. There was a coroutine, not fade. There we go, right word. So there must be another one, which is, let me find, there we go. So this is where it writes all the words. So we need to wait for texts animating to finish and then immediately grab the word in that position. That will work. Perfect. Let's do that. Right, modules general. Let's start here. R constring. Oh, did you see that? It suggested music. How does it get music? That is not even the module name. It's not even in this list. That's a very interesting prediction. Anyway, mirror. Okay, so here we want the module type, which is lowercase mirror. And then let's go to modern cipher, which is here. Mirror, process, mirror. Okay, obviously that doesn't exist yet. We're just gonna go here. And then we do this. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this and call it process mirror. This is the class type, which is lowercase mirror apparently. And then, okay, so I need to wait for this. Unfortunately, this, okay, so it does this at the start and then it waits 5 seconds and then it does this wait until, and then it removes the text again. So it does this twice, which means that we can't just wait for this condition, because if we wait for this condition, then we'll still be up here. But we need to wait until we're, well, we basically need to wait for the this coroutine to finish. Right. What is the best way to do that? Bingo. Solution. Module ready. I can just wait for that. Perfect. That is absolutely perfect. That is exactly what I need. Yes. Okay. So module ready equals. Did you see a change? That was weird. This is a bool, however. Module ready. Is that public? Probably not. No, it isn't. While not module ready, you return wait for seconds. Well, actually, this time we don't want to miss it, right? We don't want, like, if the user just accidentally presses the correct answer within that 10th of a second, you know, we don't want that to happen. So we're just gonna wait for individual frames, and then the answer is going to be Okay, so when this is the case, I need to look at these mirror texts and find the one in font position. Okay, so let's get font position first. So var position equals get field int comp font position. Okay, so that is an int and it's private and it's between 0 and 3. So I'm actually gonna say get int field here and then get this. It's gonna be between 0 and 2 inclusive. So this is the min and this is the max. Okay, and then we also need to get the mirror texts. This one I expect to be public. It is a public text mesh array, yep. So let's get this. Equals get array field of text mesh comp that is public. And then I want the, let's see, I have an expected length of that. I expect that to have a length of 3. Okay, and then, all right, that already did the dot get. And then the answer is texts at position dot text. There you go. Okay, now I want to get a selection of possible words. So I'm going to get table 1, table 2, and table 3 as well. So table 1 is a static field that is a string array called table1 dot get. And then we have table 1, 2, and 3. Oh, of course, this is the type. Whoops, get the type from the comp. Okay, so this gives me 3 string arrays. So I want to candidate words. I'm just going to concatenate all of them. So I take this one dot concatenate, this one dot concatenate, this one close parenthesis dot to array. This will give me a new array with just with all of them concatenated together. And then here I'm going to say, yeah, we're gonna need to formulate our question. So let's go here. This is for mirror, which was somewhere around, what was another M module? Morse, yep, there you go. This is already MNOPQR, mirror word. So how did the tooltip here phrase this? So you could ask about the second word the original ghost wrote. So, which word was written by the, what was the second word written by the original ghost in mirror? Yeah, and I'm just gonna say not all answers, but we're gonna add some examples in a second. This doesn't need any, oh yeah, sorry, answer layout, I forgot about that. Answer layout, 2 columns for answers. Okay. So now we're gonna add a question for this module. The question is mirror word. The format arguments we don't need, correct answers, there is just answer. And the preferred wrong answers are candidate words. There you go. And then we can inline this because that can just go straight in there. Okay, why is it complaining? Correct unnamed arguments is used. Oh, I see. This needs to say preferred wrong answers. And then we should be able to get rid of those unnecessary casts. There we go. Okay. That should be it. And now we need to put some example answers here. So I'm just gonna steal, like, not steal, but, you know, just take the first few, put them there, and then just compile this. And now we get to test mirror. Let's see. Devilish Eggs is above mirror in what list? What about 3 column 9? Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, mirror, let's do that. We don't have Twitch Play, so I'm gonna have to solve it.
All available experts, please report to room A9.
Okay, so it's monkey. That is here. If the word is necessary, press the word below. Okay. So, vestry. But monkey will be the right answer for souvenir. That is if it worked. So let's go to the log file analyzer and see why it's not... Oh, I know why it's not working. I forgot the ink save again, didn't I? Yep, I did. So here I'm getting the text, but then I still need to wait for it to be solved. So that was actually a big mistake on my end. Module ready, module select. Let's look for handle pass. There you go, module solved. It's right here. Okay, so var FLD module solved equals get field bool comp that. And then here, while not module solved, you return now we can wait some time. And now we actually need to do the ink save, which I keep forgetting. Mirror. There you go. Then we recompile that and run KTANE one more time. Fairly confident that it'll work now. You've seen 1 column, 4 answers. Get ready for 4 columns, 1 answer.
All available experts, please report to room A9.
Okay, so the answer is copper. Press the word above. There you go. It was copper. Yep, there you go. And it works. Okay. So with that, we have done mirror. So I can remove that from the list and from the wheel. And I should add it here because that. Okay, so I've now been streaming for 2.5 hours. Actually, is that even true? I think it's been 3 hours, hasn't it? I think I started at... I don't even know when I started. Let's see here. Ah, okay, it's only been 2 hours, gotcha. Well, in that case, maybe I can do one more. Let's hope that this is a reasonably easy one, just like mirror. Stellar. Yes, that is probably going to be an easy one. Let's close all of this. Stellar is doink doink. Subscribe to that. And let's take a look at this. .cs here and .prefab here. Okay, so the module type is stellar, lowercase. So right here, we're gonna find stacked sequences. Yeah, that's where it goes. Const string stellar. And then stacked sequences. There you go. We can put that here. Stellar, process stellar. Right, and then I'm just gonna go here and put that right above. Well, in fact, I can just copy and paste that. Put that here. This should be stellar. And I'm guessing that the script... Oh, it's not that, it's this. Oh, I pasted the wrong thing anyway. So this is complaining because I'm not returning a value yet. So first of all, let's see if handle pass. Ooh, it doesn't have a handle pass, so it might be module script. Now I have to learn how this is done in there we go, solve. Okay, there is no boolean. Well, unless there is a boolean in module script in keep coding, and now I have to check that. Okay, so let's go here, I guess.
There is. It's called is solved.
Okay. So for everyone who is curious, though, I'm just quickly gonna... Oh. In which of these would it be? Instances, that's where it is. Module container. No. Where is module script?
Base monobehaviors, probably.
Perfect. Thank you. So this one has a solve method, right? And this one, there we go. This one sets isSolve to true. However, I believe, yeah, that is unfortunate. This is a property, not a field. I'm going to try and deal with that. I do have a get property thing here. Let's hope that this works. So the target is comp. The name is solved, and it is public. Okay. So while not prop solved dot get, you'd return that. Okay. So now we can go back to Stella. Okay, so Stellar plays one letter in Morse code, one letter in Braille, and one letter in tap code. And I expected there to be, like maybe a char field for each. So let me just quickly figure out how this works. Am I looking at, yeah, I'm looking at the right thing. Okay, so where does it actually decide on the there must be a start or an awake. There is no awake, and start doesn't seem to do it. Pardon? Say again, please.
It might be on activate.
Activate. I didn't think of it. No, it's not. Okay, maybe I should, okay, you do have this RND, so I'm just gonna go rnd.range. Oh, you're not even using rnd.range. Okay, where does passwords get, .pick random. Okay, that wouldn't use it. Okay, so it's inside play codes. Interesting, why would it be called, why would it be run twice? This is weird. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Wait, what? Okay, I see. Okay, so I forgot about this. It picks a new password every time, like if you press it twice. But what about this, Bagels? Why is it checking for dash dash dash?
That's for the first time.
Okay. Okay. Right, so anyway, so last plate is going to, right, there we go. So last plate 1 is the tab code, last plate 2 is the Morse code, and presumably, yep, there you go, that is the Braille. Okay. So I'm guessing that this last plate variable will no longer change after yes. Okay. Right, so let me just quickly check. Why don't you just make this null? Why the string with 3 dashes in it? Why not just make it null? Okay, so this seems to be the only place where this is assigned, which means that after solving, it will still have the correct values, right? And here we can see that 0 is Braille. So var Braille, okay, so first of all, yeah, so var data, whatever. Actually, last plate, I'm going to call it last plate, equals get field of type string. No, wait. Oh, I see. It's a 3-character string. That's why you make it dash dash dash. For some reason, I assumed it was an array, but of course it's not. Okay, so let's get this, and that is not public. Nope. We get this, and then we expect this to have a length 3, expected length 3. And we expect all of them to be letters from A to Z, right? Since your password string here is in lowercase, can I then assume that the letters are always in lowercase? Yeah, it seems that here you're indexing lowercase letters. So, and this is lowercase letters, yes, okay. So I'm gonna say this is lowercase. So str any ch less than a or greater than z, then expected letters A to Z, else null. Okay, so Braille is going to be last played of 0. Tab code is last played of 1, and Morse code is last played of 2. Okay, now we need to set the questions. So we had something with STA, didn't we? What was it? Stacked sequences. There we go. So we go here. Stellar letters. Okay. So what was the Morse, Braille, or tab code letter in Should I make clear that it is asking only about the last one if you played multiple? Or is that clear on its own? What do you think?
I don't know.
Okay, well, okay, so we're gonna do this again, where we had this and this. So now we have our alphabet. Right, and then we want these example extra format arguments. So what was the Morse, Morse code letter, tab code letter, and Braille letter? All right, group size 1. And then here we're gonna say add questions module, make a question, stellar letters, stellar, question sprite no, format arguments, yes, Braille, correct answers is Braille, which is a character, so I'm going dot to string, that was correct. And the preferred wrong answers, well, I'm just gonna concatenate all of these. So, sorry, not all of these. I meant last played. Dot select many to array. Oop, can I not? Oh, it's yeah. I'm stupid. This is just last played. Select. Okay, there you go. Okay. Then we do 3 of these. So we have Braille, then we have tab code, which is lowercase, and then we have Morse code. Okay, so this would be tab code, this would be Morse code. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And then these, I don't need to create that array 3 times. So I'm going to do this. And apparently it didn't quite work, so I'm just going to do this. There we go. Okay, so that should work. Now this variable is used only once, so I'm going to inline it. And same for this one. And same for this one. And now I can compile this and just run it, right? Except I forgot to do the ink safe again. There you go. Okay. Couldn't it just ask about the word? Yes, it could, but I think that would be easier. Well, actually, well, actually, I don't know if it's easier, but anyway, I want the solver, whether it's the expert or the diffuser, to have to, break apart whether it was Braille or tab code or Morse code. Honestly, I'm really tempted to at least attempt to stream iconic updates, but I'm unsure if my internet can handle that. Well, the only way to know is to try it out. I mean, that's why when I first started out streaming, I wasn't sure if, in fact, my internet couldn't handle it initially, and I got an upgrade, but I wasn't sure if my hardware could do it, my graphics card. And it turns out that it seems to work fine. Okay, somebody, what the heck? Okay, so what the hell? I don't want to, offline, there you go. Alright, that was Mirror, not Stella.
All available experts, please report to room A9.
Okay, that is very cool. Alright, let's open that up. No, it's not that I'm hiding, I just don't want to be bothered during the live stream.
All available experts, please report to room A9.
Okay, I'm going to give this an honest try, because I don't know how good I am at this. Okay. I think the Morse code was Oscar and the tab code was Alpha. So it would be AO, so what is the Braille then is the question. Um, 125, which is Delta. No, it's hotel. So I thought it was HAO, but oh, it is actually there. Okay. Take the letters positions in the alphabet where A is 1, so we get 8, 1, 15. Take the sum of those, so we get 24. Take the last digit 4, add 2, 6. When you begin holding, it will pulse every second. Hold it across exactly as many pulses. So 6. Right. Six. Okay. It was probably not how then. It was Haj. Okay, so yeah, I thought I saw 3 dashes, but it must have been dot and 3 dashes, so yeah. Okay. So I guess I need to play it again, Sam. I'm gonna give it another honest go. So I want to look at the Morse code and read the tab code.
Please return to your station.
And hear the tab code. No. I couldn't get either of those. The tab code was something and then 4, but I'm just gonna play this once more because I know I won't be able to get it. So then I will play a different word after this. So now let's go. We want Morse code and tab code. I think that was 1, 5 and tango, so echo and tango. So the tab code was echo and the Morse code was tango, so something ET. So let's read the Braille. One, 2, so it would be bet, B-E-T. Okay, so that's 2 plus 5 is 7, 27, last digit is 7, add 2 is 9. So let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Awesome, I did it, but there is a bug in Souvenir, so let's fix that. Invalid answer. Oh, okay. Yeah. Duh. I specifically asked whether it was lowercase and then I didn't make it lowercase. That is my own fault, so I need to recompile and restart the game. What is that texture even? Baker, someone is asking what the texture is.
Yeah, let me see if I still have it.
Okay.
All available experts, please report to room
Okay, I want to give it
A9.
another honest go. Okay, here we go.
I mean, it's on GitHub. And not on my PC.
I'm gonna do this now. Take a look at this. And we'll just get the answer from the log. And the answer would have been VIS. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry, VIS, that's 22 plus 9 plus 19. That gives us 50, which is 0, plus 2 is 2. So, 1, 2. What was the Morse code letter? The Morse code letter would have been the first, the third one. So S. Right, it would have been S. Okay. That seems to be working out. So we're gonna move Stellar from here into the add to manual list. Okay, so with that, I have now genuinely been streaming for 2.5 hours. And I thank you all for watching, and I'm just gonna update them. You know what, actually, I can still stream while I'm updating the manual because I'm doing that anyway. So I think I'm just gonna do that now. Okay, so with this list, right, let's do this. Actually, let's get all the questions here first. So not the screw. What was the initial position? Okay, so that's that. We were going to change the game of life question. Right, we were going to ask which of these was a color combination that occurred on the module and not ask which position. Which is actually a bit of a shame because this whole question sprite thing that I added is now not going to be used by any module anymore. You know, it was going to be Game of Life that uses it. I assumed that the other two, not the Screw and Mazeseeker, would also use it, but it turns out that they... Wait, actually, no, that's not true. Mazeseeker does use it. So Mazeseeker is still good. Okay, so these are all the possible things, and then here, so the colors that actually come up are these. Okay, so so this is all possible answers, and then correct answers is going to be let's see, enumerable. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this would be a solid color, and in all other cases, it would be this. Well, it would be both of these possibilities. So I guess I'm going to put that into an array, that into an array, and then use select many instead of select. Okay. So this will give us all the color combinations, and then I'm gonna go .distinct .toArray. So these are the correct answers, and then I'm just going to ask one question, which is, right, so this goes, well, actually, I suppose, yeah, I should probably still say like if correct answers .length equals 0. Because there were no colored squares. This should never happen. Okay. Right. Okay, so we do not want a question sprite anymore, unfortunately. We want the correct answers to be these correct answers, and this is all answers. There you go. Okay, so we don't really need this list anymore. We can just say add question. We add the question for this module. Don't need that anymore. And that's it. Semicolon. Okay. So now let's test the new Game of Life. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to end the stream. Select many. Oh, someone asked about what select many does. What is the use of select many? Select many is exactly like select, but it will take the result and flatten it. Okay, well, flatten is a bit of a technical term. So basically, select does a one-on-one thing, right? So every element of the input sequence becomes one element in the output sequence. With select many, you can have some elements create multiple elements and some elements create no elements. And it'll all still just be one list. But Bagel's example is perfectly fine, right? So if you have two elements and the first one returns the array 1, 2, 3 and the second one returns the array 2, 3, 4, you end up with a 6-element sequence. Do you do any in real life teaching? No, I do not. I did do mathematics teaching at some points in my life, but no, I do not do teaching, and I do not believe that I would be good at it. I actually get really frustrated with teaching. So I don't do it. I don't think I would enjoy it.
All available experts, please report to room A9.
Okay. So we have our Game of Life module here. Let's quickly check the solution. The solution is no strikes, even number solved. Oh, wow. That is very, very few pixels. Submit that. What were the colors of this? Oh, I forgot to change the phrasing of the question. Game of Life, there you go. Which of these was a color combination that occurred in Game of Life Cruel? Okay, this does not use a question sprite anymore. Right, and we do have some example answers, so this should be fine. So let's try that again. I've now been talking for another 2 hours, haven't I? So I should probably get hydrated again. Okay.
All available experts, please report to room A9.
Okay, this one. Let's clear that and put in this and this. Yep, that looks correct. Ah, why? What did I do wrong this time? No question mark because there were no colored squares. This should never happen. Oh, maybe it did happen. Upload log file. It's doing this thing again. Okay, please upload this log file. There you go, thank you. Indeed, there were no colored squares. So that is actually not impossible. So I will remove the phrase that says this should never happen, because it is possible for Game of Life Cruel to have no colored squares. And then just run this one more time. By the way, hello Andrio. I just noticed that you joined. Oh, let me read this. There's been some... Not the bulb does the same tab code thing, where it goes slow to fast, okay. I guess I can take a look at that after I'm done with this.
Experts, please report to room A9.
It decided to flash back and forth between playing and stopping. Oh, the stream, not the module. Okay, so there's quite a lot of colors on this one. So let's take a look at this now. This one here, clear that, and we get this. No, that was wrong. That is correct. And then this Tetris piece here, submit that. Which of these was a color combination? Let's see. So, brown-red was indeed there. Brown-green was not there. White-purple. Is that even a thing? White-purple. And then green-red. Yeah, okay, there was only one. Good. Can anyone confirm whether such a thing as green-white exists? Yeah. No such thing. Right. It's either solid or color black or color color. Which means that what I want is, okay, so colors, crap, I forgot what 0 and 1 was. Like one of them is white and one of them is black. I think 0 is black. So no, I need to make sure of that. I need to make sure what Game of Life, this one here, assets, .cs, Game of Life Cruel. There we go. It's black. Black is 0. Okay. So we either have one of them 0 and the other one greater than 1, or both of them greater than 1. Right? So neither of them can be 1. So we need one of them to be greater than 1, but we also must make sure that neither of them is 1, right? Colors 1 of I is not equal to 1, and colors 2 of I is not equal to 1. Yeah, we just can't have any white, and we do not need these parentheses. There you go. In fact, now that I think about it, oh, wait a second. Yeah, if I is not equal to 1, and if j is not equal to 1, and I greater 1 or j greater 1. There you go. So this will generate all of the combinations, and this will find me the, yeah, that's right, okay. So let's recompile that and run that again. Okay, so you wanted me to look at not the bulb. So I guess I'm just quickly gonna take a look at the manual here. The glass is one of 6 colors, okay, and the screw cap is one of 5 materials. If the screw cap is ceramic, the module is the bulb. Gotcha. Okay. Let me see if I even have this. Oh, I'm not even subscribed. I'm sorry. I should have made sure of that. Not the bulb. Subscribe. Wait, that means I wasn't subscribed to the entire not modern modules. This is unbelievable. All right, well, last test on this.
Please report to room A9.
Clear that. Okay, the answer here. This is no strikes, even numbers of modules, so there's quite a lot of pixels. Let's put all of these in. This is almost like flash memory, but fortunately I can keep looking back at it. Okay, there we go, no more whites. So which of these was a color? I think it was the solid red, wasn't it? Yep, this one is solid red and the other one is red orange. Ah, red brown. Brown and orange is very similar, but I think this one is clearly orange, so I'm gonna say solid red is the right answer. Okay, then let's run the game again and try out not the bulb, I guess. Selecting the bulb before either of the buttons will cause it to flash a sequence in tab code. Do not interact with the module while it is transmitting. Decoding the sequence reveals one of the 9-letter words in table A that has been encrypted by the following process. Oh gosh. Yeah, it's very speaking evil. So let's try not the bulb.
All available experts, please report to room A9.
Ah, okay, that looks like silver, I think. It's definitely not blue and it's carbon fiber. I don't know what carbon fiber looks like, but it's not gold and it's not blue plastic and it doesn't look like copper either, so I think it's silver. Okay, selecting the bulb before either will cause it to flash a sequence in tab code. So Yeah, this is bad. This is very bad. This is not how tab code works. So I'm gonna have to redo this and get used to it. Okay, let me just quickly rehydrate myself. Okay, just one sec. I do apologize for the delay. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna read this again. Yeah, this is extremely hard. I'm not confident with this at all. Let's see. Decoding the sequence reveals one of the 9-letter words has been encrypted. Shifting the word 0 to 8 letters to the left.
Emergency cleared. All personnel, please return to your stations.
Okay, so I need to figure out the Caesar shift, I guess. So assuming all of these letters were correct, which I'm not confident with. One of these should give me a readable word that is cycled. Okay, so this one here seems the closest to being a word. But obviously it isn't one. So I guess I have to try again. Okay, let's try it once more. So this is what I had last time. Let's see what I get this time. Okay, I didn't get the last letter. Okay. Coordinate. Let's see what else it could be. Yeah, I think it's something something. So if I take the Romeo that I got from that's an S. I guess I'm gonna have to look at it again. If I do this 3 times and then do a majority vote kind of thing, let's see if that works. I'm really not sure about the last letter. Okay, let's say this one is an S. Now what do we get? So this one here. Injectors. Oh. So that was a Romeo. Okay, let's say it's injectors. That is in the list. Okay, that makes it very plausible. Find the word in table A that starts with the first letter of the encrypted word. So that's hotel. So we're looking for Harlequin. And apply the same encryption process that was used to generate the transmitted sequence to it. So since it was not shifted, as in rotated and cycled, I don't need to cycle it, but I do need to do rod25, which is the opposite. So I believe that this is the encrypted thing. This yields the module's key code. Use table B with each letter of the key code and the color of the glass. Okay, the color of the glass is red. Yes, it is red. Holy crap. Okay. So each of these, right? So golf is Rio. Zulu is Rolo. Quebec is Irl. Kilo is loyal. D is early. Papa is oil. Tango is Eloy. Hotel is Liller. And Mike is Liller. Right. Okay. So use table B with each letter to obtain a sequence of 4 button presses to be submitted. Selecting the bulb will submit the last 4 button presses in order. If the submission is correct, the bulb will flash and the sound may be heard. The sound only plays once, so be vigilant. The bulb may not produce a sound, in which case no modifications are applied. Otherwise, use table C with the sound that plays and material of the screw cap to obtain a modification. Apply the modification to the remaining unsubmitted letters of the key code before submitting the next sequence of button presses. If the submission is incorrect, the bulb will not flash, a strike is incurred, and module will reset its submissions, starting over from the first letter of the key code. Yeah. Okay. All 9 sequences of presses, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So out of these, only the first one is correct, right? I have to put that in, and then from table C, I get something. So let's just see what happens. So I have to press, come on, I have to press right, India, India, Oscar. Why are there no highlights? Okay, that was a tab code tab, which is this one here, I think. Okay, there is a reference module. Okay. The material, I think we agreed, was silver. So I do a Romeo, which means -1 left shift. Not sure I understand. Oh, is that this sequence here? Okay, let me read this again. If the submission is correct, the bulb will flash and the sound may be heard. The sound only plays once, so be vigilant. The bulb may blah, blah. Use table C. Now I understand what this meant. Okay. Use table C with the sound that plays and material of the screw cap to obtain a modification. Apply the modification to the remaining unsubmitted letters of the key code before submitting the next sequence of button presses. The remaining unsubmitted letters, so all of them. So if this says shift left 1, does that mean I put that Romeo over here? And then shift everything. I think this is what it's trying to tell me. So I'm going to do this. And this is now my sequence. Let's see what you guys have to say. I guess the tab code is hard to read. Yeah, it is very hard. You shift the sequence of letters, not the sequence of presses. Okay. So, in that case, you're saying I need to move this to the end. Well, you say A, B, C, D, E, but I've already entered the A, right? So do I move the G to the end or the Z? You would do the sequence corresponding to E, then A. Well, except no, because I've already done the A, right? So it would be E and then B, C, D. Is that correct? You move the Z. Okay, perfect. All right, that means I now press India and then left, left, right. another tab. So, okay, so this is done. So I move this to the end. Right, left, left, India. Okay, that was incorrect. Now, when I get a strike, and module will reset its submission starting over from the first letter of the key code. Okay, so let's undo everything. So, right, India, India, Oscar. Okay, I did not hear a sound, so we're just continuing. Right, left, right, Oscar. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Okay, does anyone know what I'm doing wrong? Did I get the wrong word? I mean, that's... No, I had the correct... Like this one, like... Okay, this one was correct the first time, wasn't it? I suppose the second letter could be wrong. The module can play the same... What? Oh, it might have been a fake strike. Well, yeah, the status light can flash red, but I need to check whether it actually registers a real strike. So I guess I'm gonna start over. So right, India, India, Oscar. Okay, there was no sound. So this should be next. Let me see if that is correct. Yeah, it doesn't say no sound and it, yeah, okay, so right, left, right, Oscar, and that's wrong. That was definitely a real strike. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm gonna look at the log. Okay, Harlequin was correct and GZ is correct. Okay, so strike. So after the last reset, this one here. So we do this, we submitted this. And then we have this. Okay, so it's claiming that I need to shift it left, even though there was no sound. That is a bug. Okay, this time I heard a ding. Which is this one here. But it's definitely none of the others. Okay, so I think I need to -1 Caesar shift. Let's see if the log agrees with that. No, it did a... Wait, what? What is going on? This is... What? I mean, I can see how Zulu goes to Alpha if you go Caesar shift +1 instead of -1, but then Quebec does not go to Juliet. I have no idea what's going on here. Not the bulb. Right, it could be @bash, reverse, rot13. Let's see what end... Yeah, it could be @bash. This is definitely @bash, yep. So it thought it had to do @bash. So @bash would mean Zulu. Which means it would be one of these. And I'm pretty confident that we heard a ding, therefore the material would be gold then. Is that gold? That is not gold in my book. Okay, if we assume that it's silver, then it would have had to be a ding from a key from recorded keys. I don't know what that sounds like, but I don't think that's what it was. Okay, so that is what recorded keys sounds like. Yeah, I guess I just don't know the module. Okay. So it did recorded keys and therefore it does an @bash. And therefore I guess the entire rest of these is nonsense. Right. So for now I will just use the log. Okay, so now I'm gonna take off the A, which is RLRR, and then I'm gonna try and do the rest from here. So, wait a second, A is not RLR. Oh, I see. RIRO translates to that. Okay, I'm gonna write down what it says in the manual. RIRO. There was definitely no sound. So I claim that the next one is a J, which is OLRO.
People are saying that no sound is the bulb sound.
Okay, well, that's a bug then. But anyway, this seems to have been correct, and now I heard the bumper from oh, what am I doing? I heard the bumper from Sonic the Hedgehog, and silver seems to be correct. So S, we're gonna do reverse, which means NSG K WP, and then N is ELOR. That is a tap. Okay, tap Romeo means -1 left shift. Okay, so the S goes here and the next letter is a G. So we have RIIO. So why was that wrong? Let's see that. Okay, I did do the tap. Right, it said, wait, -1 left shift. Oh my god, so that means +1 right shift. And I did a left shift. Yeah, okay. That is very speaking evil. So I should have done a right shift. Right. Which means the P goes here. Right. Okay. So, no sound means no sound played at all when the bulb itself was selected. You heard the bulb button press sound when you selected the bulb, so you use the no, hang on. It did not play the select sound from bulb. No sound means no sound played at all. That's what was the case. Okay, maybe I missed it. Maybe I didn't hear the bulb button press sound. It's possible that my brain filtered it out because I'm used to it. But okay, I want to try this one more time. So let's go back. Okay. So I'm gonna take a copy of this. Okay, so this is the actual word, right? And the first thing to press is RIIO. And I'm going to listen now. That was definitely no sound. Okay, so the next is Zulu, which is RLRO. No, this is bugged. There was absolutely no sound. Oh! Okay. That was a fake strike. Okay. I need to pay attention to that. Okay. So after this, we got a fake strike, which means this one and silver, so Mike, so rot 13. So I need to rot 13 this. Which gives me this. So the next letter is delta, which is this, right, left, I. Another fake strike, which means that I just wrote rot 13 this back. So it's actually back to this, except we've done the first letter. You know what, now I want to not confuse myself. Let's do this. So this is what we have, and then the next letter is kilo. LOIL. Another fake strike. QC goes. So the next letter is Q, which is this. Again, a fake strike. PTHM. Next letter is P, which is this. Okay. Was that the star sting? Please help me out here. I don't know which of these it is. That was the star sting, thank you. So we're looking at -1 Caesar shift, which means SGL. So the next letter is S, which is rule. Definitely no sound there. Then we have Rio. That was a ding. Was that, which one of these was that? Please help me out. I think that was recorded keys. Key, thank you. Yeah. That definitely doesn't sound like a key to someone who doesn't know both stars and recorded keys. You know, that I would describe that sound as a ding, 100%. So, that was a Zulu then, which is @bash. So @bash of Lima, 27 minus 12 is 15. That would make it a Oscar. Is that right? I claim it's Oscar. Which makes this ILRR. Okay, that was funny. Okay, thank you for showing me this module. I think it's very long and very difficult and kind of frustrating to figure out when you don't know what you're in for. You know, I didn't expect fake strikes and I don't know the difference between the ding sound from recorded keys and from stars. But I guess once you know them, yeah. All right, so let's go back to what we were doing. Game of Life Cruel. Right. Which color combinations occurred? May Seeker. How many walls surrounded each cell? And where was the start? Is that actual English? I guess it's fine. What were the starting and goal positions? Let's do that. Xenochrist. What was the color? Right. What was the color of each flash? Devilish Eggs. What were the rotations? What were the numbers and letters shown on the bottom? Mirror. I just copy this. What was the second word written by the original ghost? And then for Stellar, what were the what were the letters? Surely this is enough, right? Because the manual always tells you that Morse is the third one, tab code is the second one, and Braille is the first one. So even if you only wrote down the word, you can still reconstruct which one was Morse and which one was Braille, etc. Alright, so let's go back to the HTML for Souvenir here. And right here at the top, I'm just gonna paste this. And let's do this, I guess. Okay, now I want to replace the first hashtag with these. So I'm gonna go this, like that, $1 that in selection. That seems to have worked. Then I want to replace the, there's only one more, no, there's two, okay. Just in case I missed one, I'm gonna do search and replace. So, yep, there were two. And then at the end, I'm going to add this. So dollar becomes that. And then I can indent this, remove the new line, and open this in Chrome. And this will give me this. And then I will uncomment this. And now on the last page, we have significantly more than we had last time. Okay, so let's turn that into a PDF. Save. That should be in Souvenir, Manuals, PDS module. Souvenir, nope, that, yes. And now, I think we're actually going to submit to the workshop. Because we've done quite a lot of, right, we're adding all of these modules now, right? Wow, that is a lot. I still haven't looked at Danny's pull request. Maybe I should look at Danny's pull request before I submit to the workshop. I think that would be a good idea. So, thank you all for watching. I'm just gonna deal with Danny's pull request off stream right now, and then I will update the workshop. So thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the stream. FOSS, what is FOSS? I don't know what FOSS is. Oh, phosphorescence, I see. Okay. So here's the thing. If the status light flashes up red and you already have 2 or more strikes, then it's not actually possible to distinguish a strike from a fake strike. Hang on. Who said this? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, so I don't know a phosphorescence, so I guess I have to take a look to join the conversation. But yeah. Okay, I'm glad that you like it. Lots of S. For those of you who don't know, Git Extensions is a desktop client for Git, just like Git Kraken and SourceTree. But personally, I think it's the best one that I've found for me personally. If the submission is incorrect, the bulb will not flash. Ah. The status light did flash red. If it didn't, I would have noticed. But okay, so this is a fair point. If the submission is incorrect, the bulb will not flash. So that's how you can tell. We were, but now we've resolved it. Thanks, Bananas. Okay, so thank you all for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the stream. If you have any remaining questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, please leave them in the chat. If I just say the word wait, and I will wait. But, yeah, okay, I'm not getting a wait, so I guess I won't wait. So thank you for showing me not bulb. I'm not sure what to think of it. I think it's harder than it needed to be, but other than that, it has good ideas in it. Alright, so I will see you around next time. Please stop the stream. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll see you again. Bye.